Okay, now that we have our website created and everything looks fine at the larger size, now it's time to think about what are we going to do when the screen size gets smaller. In fact, this screen size here is smaller than normal because I have to fit it into this video screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is inspect so that I can see how wide the viewport is. So at this point here, you can see everything is still pretty okay. These are starting to get squeezed, so we need to fix that. But um, the next breakpoint pretty much is when the navigation breaks. So everything's okay until we get about here, and actually probably right about here, 895. Probably can go to 900. Everything's looking okay. So that's going to be our breakpoint. And we need to go ahead and say, well, at this point, we want everything to look just this way. But when it gets smaller, we want to fix things. So what are we going to have to fix? Let's go ahead and get below that. Let's say 18, looks like 18. Well, look at this, not bad. 18, whoa, here we go. Looks like 1845 is where. So let's say 850. It's going to break. You can see that at this point, this is, and some people will get all upset because this is outside the main and, oh my gosh, how are we going to do all this? I don't worry that much because no one's going to be dragging your wall in and out. Everyone's just going to be watching it on a different device. So all we care about is that at the major devices, everything is looking okay. So you can fudge a little bit, especially in this class, on it. Your boss, if you're doing this professionally, might get upset with that kind of thing. And you can see what happens when it breaks over. This gets too tall, and now it covers everything as we go down. You can see this gets a little bit narrow. The crew completely breaks. Let's see when that breaks. Yeah, right about the same time. So let's see. Why does it seem different now? Huh. So that seems strange. Home. All right, so right about there, right about 850. 850. Let's bring this out until this fixes. 880. Yeah, about 880. That's when things break. So we'll use that as our breakpoint. And what we want to do is want to make this navigation a little bit smaller. We want to not have the text. We want it to actually look like this, the way it is, because it no longer wraps anymore. So might as well stop floating this to the left, and everything else is okay. So let's go ahead and fix this top part first. So how did we get there? That's with the nav. So we need to make it a little bit smaller so we don't need to have that big of a thing. So what's making it big is the nav ULA. We still want to do inline block. So let's go ahead and copy this and paste this. Well, let's not copy it yet. We have a media query. So how do I do media queries? I always forget what the content, what the syntax is because it's difficult to remain. It doesn't do autocomplete. So the media query, I go to W3 schools, and that will tell me exactly what to do. And then this is my media query right here. So I'll do Control C, go back into here, and do Control V, and then make this 850. So remember, and I have to go ahead and I'm going to put a close brace. Oh, let me do that. Pain in the neck. There we go. And then I'll do end 850. And then you can do pixel. And then I'll copy that. I'll not copy it. I'll select it, new control slash. I always comment the end of my media query bracket. We're going to have a few different media queries since this is a complex job here. So this is our first media query. And we want to say that at this point at 850, we want that navigation to be nice and big. But now that the screen's gotten smaller, we want it to be smaller. So we're going to copy this, which is what making it big. Then I'm going to come down here and paste it in down here. It's not going to come in correct, so I'm going to have to select this and tab it over. So now it's the same at the top and the bottom. Above this is below 850, and up in here is 850 and above. So I have to think about which of these things are not going to change below and above. Well, I'm always going to want them to be block. So I'm going to go ahead and comment that out. And I'm always going to want it to be white. And in order to comment that out, I have to actually grab this and drag it over here. And I'd always want text decoration none. Now the font size, I don't need it to be 1.5 when everything gets smaller. And the reason why I comment things out so that if things go sideways on me, I can just uncomment rather than. So at the end of this project, we'll delete all the commented out stuff. But for now, let's leave it in there so that we don't have to worry about things going sideways and me trying to remember what it is that I've done. All right, so now we have to fix this. I don't want it to have 1.5 font size anymore, so I'm going to comment that out. Remember, it's not commented out on the bottom, but I always want text decoration none. I always want the white background, display block, right? That's going to stay because we commented that below. The big thing is the padding. So here you can see that we still have the padding and we still have the font size. So up here, I'm just going to change the font size, the padding. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it 10 all the way around and see how that looks. And I'm going to make the text smaller. All right, so now that we did this, now we can see how things are going to work. And we'll do File, Save All, and then we'll go back here. I'll bring it out to make sure that now I'm above 850, and then I'll go ahead and refresh it. Okay, so we didn't break it. Everything's still working. But now we'll move it in. And once, okay, now see? So there's above 850. There's below 850. And now we got lots of room to do that. Everything works the same as it did before, except now our navigation isn't in the way like it was. So that works out well. This right here actually looks fine for now. Once we get it really small, then we might want to change it, but for now that's okay. All right, let's move on down. I got a problem with this right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this is. So this is our sandwich section. And there's our H2. So there's our article. So you can see, and there's our figure. So that is a little bit excessive. We have 40 pixels of margin on each side, and that's a little bit excessive. So let's do this. Let's come up here, and where is it down here? So there's section figure. Width is 40%. And let's do margin 20 pixels. And that would be 20 up, down, left, and right. Let's see how that looks. In fact, let's make it even smaller. We don't need that much. Let's do 15 pixels. And we'll do File, Save All. And again, I haven't done a media query yet, so no matter where we go, we're going to check it. All right. So Still 40. Why is that? Did I do the wrong thing? That's article, figure, sandwiches. Sandwiches. Oh, see, I did it the wrong one. So let's Control X. Sandwiches. Sandwiches article. Sandwiches article figure. So we haven't done the figure at all here. So what we're going to have to do is squeeze it in between these two, and it'll be section hash sandwiches article figure. And then we'll put that margin in. That happens sometimes with all these sections. It's very easy to get a little confused and do the wrong one. That's what we always build and test. That's much better. Gives us a little bit more breathing room with our sandwiches. Okay, 850. And these look pretty good all the way down to about here. And then so we don't have to worry about that now. Let's go down to here. I'm not sure why that one is leaving. So let's go ahead and fix that. So that is crew image 100%. I'm not sure if we have that. Let's go see. So crew, and this is the hard part of this. Crew image is 200%, 200 pixels. Let's go ahead and make it 200 pixels. So I'm going to copy this. And then down here inside the media query, I'm going to paste it in. We still want, let's see, right margin, float left, 200 pixels. That's good. And then below 850, we want to make the width 100%, and we don't want it to float, and we don't want any margin on it. So let's do comment out. All right, well, let's see how this is working. Let's go ahead and change this to 32. Let's see what happens. File, save all, and refresh. All right, so that's above. And all right, so that's looking pretty good all the way down. Probably is good until we get to the sandwich issue too. All right. And we're at the end. So we only did those two things. And that's why I'm doing a video rather than text. I've tried to describe this in text, but here in a video, you can at least watch it a couple of times and see what I am doing. And that is using media queries to say that, well, I wanted to display a certain way above 850 and a certain way below 850. So here, both the A is going to get extra padding above 850, and the width of the photo is going to lock in at 200, not get any larger than that, and it's going to float in 10 pixels. But below 850, there's no point in having that anymore. So that's why we changed those two things. We still have a lot to go, and this is already 15 minutes almost on a video. So I'm going to stop this video and start it up again and find our next breakpoint, because I think everything here now is working. Yeah, everything here is fine until we do the next breakpoint.